And of course, yes, big news is that direct flights from Kenya to the US has been granted, and we'll have the possibility of that. And to just delve deeper and to really get how did we arrive to this status, we're joined by the Cabinet Secretary right here of the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transport, CS, James Macharia. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Just really quickly, take us through the journey, because I think we might get excited with what we've achieved so far and not really appreciate what did it take.
Yes, thank you. As you know, getting Category 1 status is actually a very, very special achievement. To us, actually, we started this journey about 6 years ago. And issues kept on cropping up. I recall that 18 months ago, we had a list which went up to 150 issues which required to be cleared. You know, issues to do with safety, issues to do with personnel, issues to do with our airports. And so very, very detailed, if you like, criteria was used. The good thing is that because we have a very positive engagement with the US, we managed to get technical support from the Federal Aviation Administration of the US. And through that, with our now very competent team at Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, we managed to tick off, you know, one issue after the other. I know sometime last year around October, we thought we had cleared everything. But then after they came and visited us in November, we had another 4 issues which cropped up, including the issue about training of our engineers, you know, how they assessed. And so we had to put curriculum programs to make sure that those engineers were tested according to the international protocols. And so it was a long list, but I'm glad that after a long, long journey, it has happened.
Indeed. And in your statement, it reads that with immediate effect, Kenya Airways will actually issue a statement to this effect. What does this spell for the airline? And does it have the capacity to actually, fly to the US directly?
Well, interestingly, this is actually the last frontier which Kenya Airways had not actually tested. As you know, KQ has gone to China, they've gone to Europe, but you see, the US, given what it is in terms of impact on our economy, it was ironical that Kenya Airways could not fly to the US. And so we had bought aircraft, appropriate equipment some years ago, which could fly these intercontinental markets. Like, for example, KQ had bought more than 10 787 Dreamliners, which are used for these long-haul markets. And so with that now, we anticipate that they will leverage on the current equipment which they have to make sure that the aircrafts are properly used and bring us revenues as a country and also as a company. And so that's what I'm saying. KQ could not wait for this to happen. Tomorrow, they are actually issuing a statement to that effect to confirm that indeed they've put in an application to fly directly to the US.
Waziri, another concern, of course, is in the infrastructure. Here we're looking at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. You mentioned, aircraft such as the Airbus A380 will not be able to even land in Kenya. So there are plans for a second runway?
We have actually gone into even the tender process. It's not something which we are planning for the future. Already the tenders are out for the construction of the second runway. You recall some time back there was a discussion about the Greenfield terminal, but we thought that would take a long, long time to do. But what was critically required was actually the second runway, because for a very busy airport like Jomo Kenyatta, it's been actually a miracle that we managed to run our business with only one runway. So with this second runway, now with this Cat 1 status, we shall merge these two very critical elements and maybe have a much longer runway which can accommodate this very big aircraft like Airbus A380.
You are banking on tourism to increase, looking at kind of the perception that Kenya has received, of course, from the international market. What are some of the other industries that you expect will benefit from this, and especially in our trade relations with the US?
Kenya has always been a signatory to the AGOA, this scheme where the US manage to help these African economies. And for us, the area of textiles, for example, has been very key, whereby you find, if you go to, say, industrial area, there are certain EPZs, economic sort of zones, whereby we are actually just producing for export to the US market. So what I anticipate now with this Cat 1 status, we'll have even more, cargo going by air straight to the US. Previously, we had flowers going through Europe, and therefore the quality of the flowers were affected because they have to go through other airports. Now, going directly to the US, we anticipate that the quality of our flowers will be a lot more appreciated in the US. And plus, also obviously, other commodities as well. We have American companies coming to invest here, especially after the US President Obama came here. So all these companies, executives, tourists, their families, and Kenyans as well going to study in the US. Now with their families, it will be a lot easier to fly. And therefore the business, the human traffic between here and the US will be certainly more enhanced.
Lastly, Waziri, and of course this news has been received with a lot of excitement. When am I able to take my flight to the US, and as soon as when?
We have managed to cross the largest barrier, which required an assessment of our country. Now, what remains is basically two things. One, we require airlines to apply. You remember in 2009, we had Delta Airlines, which had been approved to fly from Atlanta to Nairobi. They still keep an interest because I still see they've got an office in Nairobi. So all they'll need to do is refresh the application for licensing. So that's one area. Airlines must apply. And I think the process for us to approve will be very fast. Then, of course, we require now to make sure that even Jomo Kenyatta Airport is certified as a last point of departure. Because for safety, the last point of departure is critical to make sure the security of the aircraft is guaranteed. And so the good thing is that already we have invested heavily. So I anticipate a week or two that assessment should be completed. So I would say as early as next month, we can have actually those direct flights to the US.
Very well. We hope we'll be with you together in that flight to the US for this.
Indeed, indeed.
Thank you very much. That has been none other than the Cabinet Secretary of Transport and Infrastructure, CS, James Macharia, just giving us an update on this Kenya being granted the Category 1 status by the US to fly directly. Keep it NTV. My name is Laban Cliff.